The soul gets tired before the body, long before muscles fail, long before sleep can no longer restore us. Something deeper begins to ache. We live in a time where exhaustion has become normal. Stress is worn like a badge of honor. Busyness is confused with meaning. And silence feels almost uncomfortable. Yet the most dangerous fatigue is not physical. It is existential. You can rest your body and still wake up empty. You can sleep for 8 hours and still feel unrest. Because what is tired is not the flesh. It is the soul. Exhaustion is not weakness. In the modern world, exhaustion is often treated as a failure, as if being tired meant being inefficient, fragile, or broken. But throughout history, the greatest thinkers understood something we are slowly forgetting. Fatigue is not always a defect. Sometimes, it is a signal. Carl Jung once wrote that neurosis is often a substitute for legitimate suffering. In other words, when the soul is ignored, it finds other ways to speak. Anxiety, restlessness, chronic stress. These are not always disorders to be silenced. They can be symptoms of a deeper misalignment. The soul protests when it is forced to live against its own limits. The Greeks and the forgotten measure. The ancient Greeks had a word we rarely hear today, measure. For Aristotle, virtue was never excess, nor was it deficiency. Virtue lived in the mean, the balance. Courage was not recklessness. Rest was not laziness. Silence was not emptiness. What exhausts us today is not effort itself, but excess without meaning. We work without rhythm, consume without satisfaction, speak without listening, think without stillness. The Greeks understood that a life without measure collapses inward. Modern anxiety and the loss of limits. Our age struggles with limits. We are always available, always connected, always responding. But the soul requires boundaries. When there are no limits, attention fragments, identity dissolves, rest feels guilty. Psychologically, this produces anxiety. Philosophically, it produces alienation. Spiritually, it produces silence, not the healing kind, but the hollow one. Even some modern 20th century man says about the necessity of true will, not impulse, but alignment. Yet modern culture replaced will with appetite. And appetite never rests. Jesus and the radical act of rest. Jesus lived in a world of urgency, suffering, and expectation. And yet, repeatedly, he withdrew. He rested. He went alone. He was silent. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. This was not an invitation to escape responsibility. It was an invitation to reorder life. Jesus did not deny limits. He embraced them. In a culture that glorifies endless productivity, rest becomes an act of resistance. Rest says, I am not infinite. I am not self-sufficient. I am not meant to carry everything alone. Silence is medicine. Silence is uncomfortable because it removes distractions. And when distractions are gone, the soul speaks. Jung believed that what we do not confront internally will meet us externally as fate. Silence forces confrontation, gently, but honestly. The modern mind fears silence because silence reveals unresolved grief, unmet longing, false identities. But silence is not emptiness. It is space. The desert was never a place of abandonment in Scripture. It was a place of formation. The soul does not heal in noise. Meaning is the antidote to burnout. Burnout is often described as exhaustion. But at its core, burnout is meaning collapse. You can endure great suffering when life makes sense. But even small effort becomes unbearable when meaning is absent. Viktor Frankl, though not requested, understood this deeply. Those who had a why could survive almost any how. The soul gets tired not from effort, but from effort disconnected from purpose. Rest is not merely stopping. It is remembering why you move at all. Closing reflection. Perhaps what you are experiencing is not failure. Perhaps it is wisdom arriving late, but still arriving. The soul is asking for measure, silence, limits, meaning. Not everything needs to be solved. Some things need to be laid down. Rest is not quitting life. It is returning to it properly. The soul gets tired before the body. And when we listen, rest becomes possible again. This is Repose for the soul. A space to breathe. A space to remember. A space to rest.